Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, author of the Good Gun, Bad Guy series of books, also one of the people behind the Loaded Mic radio program, Dan Wos. Dan, thanks for coming on board today, man.
Hey, Paul, thanks for having me. It's always fun to talk to you. We always have great conversation. Just thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, and that's when you and I get together. Yes, we cover the news, but a lot of what we do is conversation, and it's always a good one. So I enjoy having you on. I want to remind everybody as we get started, if you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube on the Polite Society podcast channels, go ahead and comment. We'll get your comments in, and we'll get your comments on the air as long as they're relevant to what we're talking about at the time. Already got people checking in on YouTube, so I know we're good there. Dan, our first story today. This one comes off a story of AMOLENS, the Dean Weingarten story. He writes that a study shows that gun ownership may be double what has been promoted. Just a little bit out of that story. On June 23rd, a story on the underreporting of firearm ownership was published in the journal Social Psychiatry and Psychiatric Epidemiology. Wow. The title is Predicting Potential Underreporting of Firearm Ownership in a Nationally Representative Sample. The study indicated the number of people who refuse to report they are firearms owners, who have been called shy firearms owners, are about as numerous as firearms owners willing to identify themselves as such. The original study showed that 34.6% of those surveyed admitted to owning firearms, about 89 million people. The study estimated another 29.6% of respondents were likely to be shy gun owners. This would put the total number of gun owners in the U.S. at roughly 64% of adults, or 166 million people. Dan, that's something I've been saying for a long time, is that if somebody calls me up and says, I'm from Rasmussen Reports, I'm from this or that polling agency, if I recognize them, I might respond, hell yes, I'm a gun owner. I own about half as many firearms as the Army does. If I recognize them and I don't like them, I may say, gun owner? Oh God, no! It's it kind of depends on my whim at the time. I haven't had anybody call and ask me anything from a polling place in a very long time. I was still driving truck at the time. So, what do you think? I think that this recent story is going to be much more accurate than the previous one that only reported 34%. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I don't know this psychiatry and psychiatric epidemiology, the journal there. I'm not sure of that publication or that organization. But you know what's interesting is when I hear about this, there's a lot of let's say not so gun friendly organizations looking to find out how many guns there are in America, and it's funny how they're really interested. They want to know. They really would like to know who has the guns and how many there are. And another interesting thing, when you said that they labeled those people shy gun owners.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met a gun owner that was shy. This is probably a projection of the left trying to label gun owners because they can't get their data that they want. Another point that I'd like to make is, first of all, it's none of their damn business. It's nobody's business who has guns, and so a lot of people might just say no, or they might hang up the phone, or they might just lie to them. Who knows? So I don't know that I even trust any of these polls, but I would imagine that it is true that there are more gun owners in this country than people think.
Let me get a comment in here real quick. Fat for a podcast. I'm not going to say the full name, but
I like that name.
yeah, it's a fantastic name. That comments, too many of those shy gun owners and gun owners in general don't vote their rights. Absolutely right. We have best somewhere between the low estimate is this 34.6, high estimate of 64% of adults. I'm going to say just over half is what I believe is of the public is gun owners. If we all voted for our rights, there'd be no issues. But apparently we don't always vote for our rights, and all you got to do to prove that is look at who's currently occupying the Oval Office and a lot of the Senate seats. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. You know, another thing, there was a big push from doctors to find out who had guns, and they had it in their applications when you go to the doctor and you would fill out the form and stuff to give them the information. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I know they were doing it a few years ago, where they were asking if there was a gun in the home or if you're a gun owner. And, you know, a lot of gun owners were saying, you know, we're writing down none of your business, you know, stuff like that. But that kind of gives it away. You know, if you say, you know, it's none of your business, they kind of know you're a gun owner. So I think I would just rather lie to them and screw up their data as much as possible. You know, screw up their numbers as much as possible. So that's what I would do, because, like I said, it's none of their damn business who has guns. So I just would do everything I could to try to mess up their data. So I think a lot of people would just say, no, I'm not a gun owner, when in fact they are. That's just my opinion. Some people might disagree with it, but I don't like the intrusion. I don't like the idea that anybody would even ask. That's my business, and if you're asking for nefarious reasons, that even makes it worse.
Yeah. Let me get this one in from Woods. Data is mixed on a number of guns. We know it's a lot. Good luck finding all of them or making a list of all of them. Well, the AFT, as Biden calls them, is doing their darndest to get that list of all of the gun owners and all of the guns. They're doing their darndest. I don't think they're there. I know for a fact there are several guns in the Lathrop household that I did private purchases of that the AFT may or may not know where they are. I know there for a fact there are at least a couple guns in the Lathrop household where they were manufactured before 1968 and done with a private sale. And so, again, I don't think I'm the exception. I think I'm more the rule.
Yeah, oh, I think so too. I think gun owners don't want to play their games and just, you know, it's my business. Stay the hell out of my life kind of attitude. Or maybe that's just me.
Yeah. Woods also reminds us, and this I think most of the numbers like this come from the estimates of sales compared to background checks. You know, he says 400 million or more guns than people. Yeah, there is that. There is no doubt that there are a whole lot of guns in the United States, and just based on sales, we're buying, and we have for the last several years, more than 1 million guns a month, new ones. Let alone what's going on in private sales, let alone what's going on in inheritances. Simply because when a person dies, their guns don't die. The guns go on to their heirs. And so,
Right. And here's something to scare the anti-gunners just a little bit. Um, if when we track guns like that through sales, we do get an idea of how many are sold, and that number keeps going up um, by a lot every year. And the what doesn't happen is guns being depleted from society. Now, maybe a small amount might be destroyed or rendered useless, damaged, and disposed of. But that, I would imagine, is a very small percentage compared to the number of new guns purchased. So I would imagine, I mean, I can't imagine how many guns there really are in this country because basically they don't go away, but we keep buying more. So,
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah, this is a good one. Let me get Wood's comment in here. Oops, I haven't got it up there. Here we go. I definitely do not have guns I bought in the 80s privately. Definitely not. Wink, wink. Well, yeah, and in case anybody from the AFT is listening in, there was a terrible boating accident or motorcycle accident or something, and they're all gone. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing how many gun owners have both.
Yes. There's a lake somewhat near me called Okoboji in Iowa. If they were to go and go over that lake with a metal detector, I'd shudder what they would find. You know. Let me get this one up there. Again from Fat. Guns with serial numbers is approximately 365 million. Guns made before the Gun Control Act of 1968, they estimate to bring the total to 1 billion, give or take a million. Wow, that's just in the United States. That's enough firearms to.
That's why I say. I mean, 400 million guns. That's got to be just a fraction of what's actually in the hands of American citizens. Because, like I said, every year, how many are sold every single year? Number just keeps piling on top. It's hysterical how every town for gun safety and Moms Demand and March for Our Lives, they all think they're going to be taking these guns away somehow. Even if you legislated them right out, if you legislated the Second Amendment right off the Bill of Rights, those guns would not go away, and that's just something to help them rest better at night.
Yeah. Let's. I want to get on to our next story here real quick because we burned up almost half our time just on this first one. Massachusetts on Sunday, August 27th, Massachusetts Gun Owner Action League will be holding a 2A Freedom Celebration in Quincy, Massachusetts. They're asking everybody to join fellow Second Amendment supporters to rally against HD 4420, an act modernizing firearms laws. Well, and as Goal says, it's the Gun Owner Imprisonment Act. A few things that HD 4420 would do if it were passed in Massachusetts: institutes a new, broader assault weapons ban, including firearms already owned by law-abiding citizens, bans all federally legal tax-stamped automatic firearms, bans gun bans on possessing any gun loaded or unloaded at all city, county, and municipal buildings, all polling places, any private property unless the gun owner has provided express consent or has posted signage allowing firearms on their property, and a lot more. Looks like, Dan, this is they took New York's Concealed Carry Improvement Act, added a few horrible things to it, and ran with it.
No, exactly. It's the same thing New Jersey did, California. They all do the same thing. So New York, the originally appointed Governor Hochul was the leader on all this stuff. After the Bruin case shot down the New York state laws, she came in with this new package called the Concealed Carry Improvement Act. Basically, had all that stuff in it, and she's been shot down in court 5 times by judges who said that her gun laws are unconstitutional. We know they're unconstitutional. The states like Massachusetts are right here, and Jersey and California and all the other states, they all know it's unconstitutional. They're doing it because they can, and they're doing it because they know they can hold gun owners up for a lengthy period of time while we fight to appeal, or while we fight to shoot it down, and then they will come in and appeal, and it's just a long, drawn-out process. They know they can't defeat the Second Amendment, so they just keep piling on these fraudulent, anti-constitutional gun laws and just drag it out. That's what they're doing. They're just dragging it out and making it as difficult as possible.
My my worry is, and I'm with you, if it is passed, we're going to sue. It's going to get knocked down. In the interim, there are going to be some good people that become felons over this thing.
Yeah.
They're going to be really hurt badly, and that's my big fear here is we're going to win. We're going to win no matter what. It would be better not for this law not to be enacted. My fear is it's going to be enacted. It's going to take effect, and there are going to be some people that are caught by this thing and become felons, and then those folks have to then again go try to get their records cleared after the gun law is struck down.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there has to be a loss for lawsuits to start. So yeah, unfortunately, someone's going to have to take a hit and take a loss, and then sue the state. That's the way it usually goes, and it is too bad. Yeah, you know what? It's the game we're in. It's the game we have to play. We have to learn how to fight them back, and this is, unfortunately, this is part of our life. This is part of our life as real Americans, preserving our rights. And I don't want it like this. It's a waste of time and money, and puts good people in danger. But I don't think we have much choice because they're not going to stop. So we're going to have to get stronger and just keep fighting back.
You get a couple more comments in here real quick. First by Warsaw Patriot. Massachusetts is reacting only because they know they're in the wrong and they can't win against the Bruin decision. I don't think they're going to win either, Warsaw Patriot. And as Dan and I discussed, I really think this is a delaying tactic. I think they're trying to get in what they can and hope against hope that somehow the makeup of the Supreme Court changes so that they can skate by in the time it takes for this to get to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And that was one great thing Donald Trump did. Man,
yeah.
He was really hyper-focused on the Supreme Court, and I don't think people realized how much foresight he had when he was doing that. He realized, because you know what? Trump has been in court his whole career, and mostly with real estate transactions and things like that. He's very familiar with the legal system and the court system, and he knew that this stuff goes up to it always makes its way up to the Supreme Court, and as the last line of defense, he wanted to make sure that we had real Americans on that Supreme Court. And Justice Clarence Thomas, with this Bruin case, gave us a gift in his opinion when he declared that all gun laws need to meet historical tradition. That was amazing. That's the gift that's going to keep on giving.
Yeah, it is. It is. I want to get one more story in here. This one, my blood. It's not a news story. This is a Lee Williams, SAF's investigative journalism reporter, and he did the reporting on this. The ATF's director of industry operations for its Dallas field office, Chrissy Nelson, is going after what's a tabletop or a home FFL dealer in Dallas. The ATF went in, used procedural errors from 16 years ago, which they had previously cleared this gun dealer of, or this home dealer of, as a basis for targeting his federal firearms license, despite they issued him letters clearing them. Harris and other home-based dealers claim the ATF is specifically intimidating them into voluntarily surrendering their FFLs, exploiting their limited financial resources. And get this, when they went after this guy, there is an appeal process within the ATF. When they said they were going to yank his FFL, there's an appeals process, but the ATF's Director of Industry Operations for its Dallas Fields office signed this Chrissy Carlson signed his notice of revocation. However, she also oversees his appeal. So do you think she's going to disagree with herself when she goes to hear this appeal? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this link. I'm going to throw it into the comments section on both Facebook and YouTube. This is the ATF at its finest. They're the judge, the appellate judge, the jury, and the executioner when it comes to FFLs.
Yes, exactly. It's ridiculous.
All right, and I just got it up into the comments section on Facebook and YouTube. So, let me see here. Going back to the last comment, last story, let me get this comment in. At this point, and it goes to any state, if we're freedom-loving American patriots and citizens, then we're guilty. Arrest us and we'll sue you to the bone. Well, it's a lot, and I'm going to turn this into a little bit of a self-serving plug here. If you want to sue the government, if you want a lot of lawsuits against the government to go through, you need to be a member of the SAF. You need to be a member of GOA. You need to be a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition. These are the people that are suing the federal government. The more members they have, the more money they have to put these suits forward with. And it costs upwards of $1 million just to get a lawsuit to the Supreme Court, not including suing at the Supreme Court. So if you go to saf.org/join, even if you are already a member, kick in another $50 if you're a member. If you're not a member yet, it's $150 for a lifetime membership. So, yeah, Dan, what you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, it's important. It's also important to be a member of your state, your statewide groups as well, because a lot of these battles are fought at the state level. Like right here in New York, we had the New York Rifle and Pistol Association. They're the ones who brought the. I'm not sure if they brought the case originally, the Bruin case, but they picked it up at a certain point. So yeah, you have to. This is the only way we're going to fight these people back. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who always think somebody else will do the fight. Somebody else will fight this battle. And boy, if we all got involved and we all put in our effort, they wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Give me a second here. I'm trying to do some adjustments while we're right. Let me get this one in here quick. Oh, I didn't get it sent. Just a second. I'm sorry. Oh, another one from Warsaw Patriot. I'm surprised New York State hasn't even been in the process to remove the New York SAFE Act after a decade. You're going to be more familiar with this than I am, Dan. There are lawsuits against the New York SAFE Act even now, aren't there?
Well, as far as I know, I'm not sure what the status is on them, though. I'll have to take a look. But yeah, that's something that it really should be fought. And I'm not sure if one of the big one of the big groups wants to take it on. But man, that would be great if Second Amendment Foundation or Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition would get involved in something like that. I don't know, but there, like I said, I think there has to be some kind of loss or damage um, before that can be brought. So I don't want to get into that territory if I don't want to give any wrong information. So I'm not
Sure.
sure.
We are down towards the bottom of the hour, which means our time is quickly running out. I want to get this up in front of the camera again. Good Gun, Bad Guy. I've got the one. I've got multiple books, but right now I'm showing the one that shows up good in front of a green screen. The Good Gun, Bad Guy too. You can see all of them there behind Dan. Dan, if you would tell us about your book series, tell us about the Loaded Mic program and anything else you want to plug, bud.
Well, the book series is going very well. The first book, Good Gun, Bad Guy, was released in 2016, and since then it's turned into a 3-book series. It talks about the anti-gun strategies, the tactics they use, and all the. It's basically, this is a 3-book series that is basically the rule book that the anti-gun crowd didn't want you to have. How we fight back, how we understand their evil ways and their tactics, and how we defeat them. It's what got me into this fight, and everybody who reads the book series absolutely loves it. So I encourage everybody to at least start with book number 1 and see if you like it. GoodGunBadGuy.com. GoodGunBadGuy.com is the website. I also have a show called The Loaded Mic, where we are primarily a Second Amendment web show, but we do get into topics of the day. It's a lot of fun. The show is a total blast. My co-hosts John Chiara and Anthony Diesel, we're just a regular riot. We have a really good time. LoadedMic.com. So you can go to GoodGunBadGuy.com and LoadedMic.com.
Very cool, man. Well, again, that's going to do it for us today. I do encourage you to come back to join me tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday at the same time, 7 p.m. Central Time. Each day we're going to be covering the Second Amendment stories of the day. That's it for today. Thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next time.